Well, I am back in the middle of the night. Well, actually, it's not quite the middle of the night right now. It's about 11:17 p.m. in the evening. It is actually quite cold here in Southern California. Well, for those of you on the East Coast and other places, you probably would think it's quite warm here. And I don't even want to tell you how cool it is. You'll probably laugh at us, those of you who are in the colder regions. I wanted to do an episode, and let me first start with this. And there are times I've said this before, and I think with this particular episode, this is really, really true for this episode, that I really kind of went back and forth on whether I really truly wanted to do this. I know that it is a necessary episode and that it needs to be done. But again, one of my fears, if I'm being honest, is that I'm going to put people off to doing this, to leaving their bodies when I talk about this stuff. I want you to know that regardless of whether you're in the 3D world or you're in the astral plane, you're always going to deal with some form of, and I'm going to put this in quotes, darkness. And people have, and I've seen different things in comments about people saying that they've seen shadow beings and all these other things in the astral plane. And I'm here to tell you that, yeah, I have seen shadow beings before in the astral plane. They have never attacked me. They have never tried to hurt me. I have seen them before, and I do believe that they exist. However, I would say that, at least in my opinion, and it is simply my opinion, that the vast majority of shadow beings or dark beings that we see are associated with us. And let me get into that, because I think, and I really want to begin with this part. And this is something that I always emphasize to you on this channel. You are in control of your experience, and you are in control of the things that are around you. And one of the things that I have always also told you is that when you get out there, you want to get rid of all the negativity, the hate, the fear, as much as you can. Purge those things, get rid of those things, and be clear when you come out. When you do that, the vast majority of times you're not going to be even dealing with this. And I don't normally see or deal with these things. It's been very rare that I've even seen anything. However, I want to get into what I believe is the root cause of these shadows, per se, or these dark beings. And it's this. Number one, a lot of people don't understand the power that they have when they go into the astral plane. They don't understand that their thoughts can manifest themselves instantly. If you are carrying around stuff inside of you, especially, and I'm going to emphasize this part because this is very important, so please listen carefully, especially things that are suppressed, okay? It is a reality that all of us, including myself, even though people don't want to admit it, we all have different sides to us. We have the light and the love and all these other things, but we have the other side too. Just being honest. We have what's called the, quote, negative side of us as well. negative thoughts, jealousy, unfortunately, even hate. All of these things can come inside of us and can be inside of us. And it's important, number one, to acknowledge that. Number one, when you acknowledge the fact that, yes, there is darkness inside of me, there is darkness inside of everyone, there's a balance in us, there is light and darkness. When we, number one, acknowledge that this is the case and we don't make an attempt to suppress that, at that point, we have actually most of the power at that moment. We have garnered most of the power at that moment. Why? Because when we suppress something, when we try and bury something, we are ultimately giving it power. So acknowledging and getting it out there is how you take that power away and saying, you know what? I am a good human being. I'm a good person. But inside, I don't always have good thoughts. Sometimes I have dark thoughts. Sometimes I have negative thoughts. Sometimes, it's not the greatest thing. And this is something that, I tell you, I'm talking about this, I think, partly because I've struggled with it. I've struggled with the fact that, yeah, there is darkness inside of me. No, I'm not perfect. And there are no perfect people out there. So this is definitely something that I've struggled with. But the number one thing that you can do to fight this, and the number one thing that you can do to make sure that your experience in the astral plane is a beautiful experience, is to not suppress these things. I'll give you what I think would be a pretty good tip before leaving your body. And that is just to, whether you're laying down or however you position yourself before you astral project, just to simply say, I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect human being. And these are the things that are dark inside of me that I think about. These are some of the darker thoughts that I have. Also, if those darker thoughts come up when you are preparing to leave your body, again, acknowledge them. Acknowledge that this is a part of you. It is. It is a part of you, and regardless of how much you try to avoid it, it's there, and it is especially there when you leave your body, because again, excuse me, this is the kind of thing, this is the way that I kind of like to talk about leaving your body and being in the astral plane, and that is, there are no secrets there. We can walk around in the 3D world and have all these thoughts about whomever, these negative thoughts, and this person is this or that, or I don't like this person, or I'm jealous of this person, or whatever negative thoughts come into your mind. We can have that. We can walk around, and truly most people that aren't sensitive to that sort of thing are ever going to know. They're never going to know what our thoughts are. But when you enter the astral plane, and this is, again, this may actually be one of the more important episodes that I've ever done, because it is extremely important that you understand this. Understand that when you go out into the astral plane, there are no secrets. You are out there walking around raw. Might as well consider yourself almost walking around naked. Buck naked, where everybody can see what you're thinking and how you're feeling. So, my advice to you is to make sure that you have some clarity. Breathe, relax, and prepare yourself before you go out into the astral plane. Because while it is an amazing place, it's a blast. I've had some really great, fun moments out there and astonishing moments of other worlds and all these other things. Understand something for those of you who are just coming into my channel, who are just listening, and who are just having or showing some interest in astral projection. It is very important that you understand that this is not a game. This is not something to be toyed with. You need to take it very, very seriously when you go out there. You are going out into another reality, another universe. It does not have the same rules that we have here. And so you need to adjust yourself for that. Anyway, I hope that this was informative and helpful to you. And every once in a while, I'll come back to this subject because, again, I do believe that it is important. It's something that we need to think about before we go out into the astral plane or beyond. We need to understand these things. Thank you so much for coming on another journey with me. And until next time, take care.